Welcome, you are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube.com and online all the time at WesTheSportsGuy.com as well. I got a lot to get to this week for episode 14 of One-on-One with yours truly. The World Cup is going to be coming to North America in 2026. That is, of course, after Russia gets through with 2018, which is underway right now, and Qatar, or Qatar, however you want to pronounce that country's name, in 2022. It is a bit of a change from the norm for FIFA, as they are considered, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt organizations in the entire world, as essentially Russia and Qatar, however you want to pronounce their name again, they bankrolled a lot of money to get those bids to host the soccer's greatest tournament of all time, and many could say the greatest sporting event of all time, but I beg to differ simply because I just can't wrap my head around the sport. I can't. And you can say, well, you're a sports guy. Why can't you get behind soccer? Why don't you like soccer? Well, for the simple fact that it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch from beginning to end, especially when it comes to local MLS action. I can't get behind that. I never did from the beginning. I mean, sure, I grew up in Southern California. The LA Galaxy have been the most successful team in that league's history, you could say. But when it comes to the World Cup, sure, I'll watch it every now and then when the U.S. is involved. Sure, I'll try to watch their matches as much as I can because, hey, USA, go, go, go. But we don't win the World Cup hardly ever, and we really don't compete hardly ever. And sure enough, we're not even in this year's World Cup, so why should I even bother trying to watch it if my country's not in it? Sure, I could watch the greatest players in the world stage doing what they do. Cristiano Ronaldo getting a hat trick in a tie, which, again, don't get me started on ties. I don't understand it in soccer. I know it's been around forever, but I can't wrap my hand around it. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind this. So it's coming to North America. When I say North America, that's going to be shared by Canada, U.S., and Mexico. So, yay, congratulations. We get the World Cup in 2026. But if you don't look at a calendar lately, that's 8 years away. So, yay, World Cup, it's starting. Have fun watching it because I'll probably wait till the actual title game to maybe watch a few minutes, and then I have to change the channel because I'm about to fall asleep. I'm sorry, but that's just how I am with soccer. You know, send me a mean emoji on YouTube. Comment below. Make sure you subscribe as well. See if I give more updates on the World Cup as it goes along. But again, hey, stranger things have happened here on One-on-One. Time for my rapid fire segment, which has a similar name to a part in a movie. For the Ring of Fire segment this week, I've got a couple little tidbits and one that segues into my next segment here this week on One-on-One with Wes the Sports Guy on YouTube.com. Bryce Harper apparently is a selfish loser. That's according to an anonymous Major League executive who basically attributes Bryce Harper to being a selfish loser from the simple fact that he doesn't win games. He doesn't win playoff games, to be specific. Which is partially true. I mean, he does have an MVP award to his name. He does have a few All-Star appearances as well. He's done a few things in those All-Star games, not anything to wow you, kind of like how Mike Trout won MVP in the All-Star games a few times in his career now. But again, Bryce Harper has a lot of Silver Slugger awards. I mean, the trophy case is endless for him, you could say, in his very young career. And he's also in the midst of the last year of his current contract with Washington Nationals, and he could be paid upwards of $300, maybe $400 million. You don't know with Major League Baseball nowadays how they're going to be dishing out the contracts coming up. One thing I do know for sure is that Bryce Harper, in my opinion, is not a selfish loser. He's actually one of the best players in baseball, and I'm a bit biased when I say Mike Trout is better than him, but again, Bryce Harper's not far behind. They both burst onto the scene at the same time, pretty much. And one could say that Bryce Harper is technically better than Mike Trout in certain areas. He definitely has a better arm than Mike Trout in the outfield, even though Mike Trout you can consider as a five-tool athlete with his stealing prowess. Bryce Harper can steal bases, not with the prowess of Mike Trout. But looking at it from as a whole, Bryce Harper is going to get paid, and teams are going to count on him to be the star player going forward for the rest of his career. Of course, Washington Nationals' current GM, Mike Rizzo, defended Bryce Harper vehemently with, utmost haste, you could say, as well, because he's the guy that signed him, drafted him, and is basically trying to keep him in Washington right now. So I find it kind of funny that an anonymous Major League Baseball executive quotes him as a selfish loser. Well, if there's certain teams that aren't even trying to bid for Bryce Harper in free agency, you can pretty much narrow down who would be that anonymous executive that didn't bother bidding for Bryce Harper and called him a selfish loser during the 2018 season. Something to watch in the offseason there. And apparently Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs is telling those around him that he wants out of San Antonio. Now, of course, this is coming from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, who is, in my opinion, the most credible reporter for the NBA, ins and outs, you could say, when it comes to drama, free agent stories, trades, and whatnot. He's definitely one of the best, in my opinion, the best right now. It was better that he wasn't with ESPN, but again, that's a topic for another day. Regardless, Kawhi Leonard apparently wants out of San Antonio. Now, he has been talking to Greg Popovich as well about their relationship, you could say, because Kawhi Leonard suffered a pretty serious quad injury that kept him out of all but 9 games for the San Antonio Spurs this last season. He is by far their best player. He's a finals MVP. He's got a couple championships to his resume as well. Him wanting out of San Antonio doesn't mean San Antonio has to grant that wish. He does have 1 more year left in his contract. And for him to try to, leverage anything with the Spurs at this moment with that quad injury, it's kind of hearsay at this point. And where he wants to go is not really up to him because the Spurs have all the leverage in the world right now. And they can choose wherever they want to trade him. It's kind of like how Paul George got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. He wanted to go to the Lakers apparently, but no, they didn't want to trade him to where he wanted to go. So I don't see anything like this happening. And that kind of segues into my next segment, which, again, it's IHOP. It's not IHOB. You're known for pancakes, not burgers. Just remember that. Do you remember?
You remember?
Do you remember when the Los Angeles Lakers had a super team for the year 2012? Come on, I know you do. That was a trade that was going to happen with Chris Paul going from the New Orleans Pelicans, or Pelicans now, the New Orleans Hornets at the time, to the Los Angeles Lakers in a 3-team trade involving the Houston Rockets. It was by far a fair trade, but that wasn't fair in the mind of then Commissioner David Stern, who nixed the trade because the NBA at that time owned the New Orleans Hornets and screwed the pooch on this one, thus making the Hornets do an about face and then trade Chris Paul a few weeks later before the lockout shortened 2012 NBA season. He got traded to the Los Angeles Clippers instead. So he kind of got his wish. He got traded to LA, but to the wrong team. Of course, I'm being biased when I say that because I'm a Lakers fan, but at the time it was a fair trade. 3-team trade involving the Rockets and the Hornets and the Lakers. Lakers were going to get Chris Paul. The Rockets were going to get Pau Gasol. The Hornets were going to get Lamar Odom from the Lakers. So it's not like the Lakers weren't giving up top-tier talent to get Chris Paul. Why am I bringing this up now? Because apparently Kawhi Leonard wants to go to the Lakers. That's his top priority. It's not going to happen. Simple fact that the Spurs don't have to trade to the Lakers. Just as a simple fact that the Hornets didn't have to trade to the Lakers at that time either, but they were going to. But the league stepped in and nixed that trade, saying it was not in the interest of fairness. To this day, I believe the NBA had it dead wrong from the simple fact that it was a lockout-shortened season going in. It was only 66 regular season games. The owners made it pretty apparent that they didn't want a super team to happen again with the Miami Heat getting together the year before with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Owners were not happy about this. So they wanted to nix any chances of super teams happening in the future. Well, I think that kind of went to crap because when you look at the Golden State Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, just to name a few in the last couple of years now, that fight did not go anywhere. Players are going to go wherever they choose to in free agency, and if trades happen with other teams that have no interest in stopping super teams from happening, well, then you don't have much of a say in it at all. So that super team that should have happened in 2012, and the Lakers did get Dwight Howard the next year, they were probably going to get Dwight Howard before that season happened, but since the Chris Paul trade didn't happen, why get Dwight Howard? There was no point in doing it then. Do I think it would have worked in the end for the Lakers having Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, and Kobe Bryant at that time? No, I don't think it would have. It would have worked out very well looking at the history and looking at how Dwight Howard just ended up being a one-and-done guy with the Lakers. Well, that was worth it. But seeing as how the league has trended towards these super teams, it could have worked. But we'll never know. But it could have been. Time for the feel-good stories of the week, and I say stories because I do have a couple to get to for you today. This one coming from Minnesota. It was a high school sectional championship game. High school pitcher Ty Cohn with a 3-hit shutout in the ninth inning, going up against Jack Cocone.
There's a TG guy. I didn't realize that.
And as you can see the embrace there at the end, Jack Cocone being hugged by his good friend Ty Cohn, who ended up getting a 3-hit shutout, and his team advancing to the state quarterfinals. The quote afterwards by Ty Cohn: "Our friendship is more important than just the silly outcome of the game. I had to make sure he knew that before we celebrated. It was more instinct. It just felt right." Kudos to Ty and Jack on their friendship, and they have been friends since their Little League days when they were 13 years old, and obviously going to different schools in their high school playing days, but that just shows you right there the power of friendship, even for a sectional championship game for high school baseball. The love of the game does not trump their friendship, and that was just a great moment. And another feel-good story of the week, as we are in graduation season, Seth Scott giving his speech to the Plano Senior High School class of 2018.
Don't fear the future. Don't fear the unknown. Will it be unexpected? Yes. Yes, it will. But that does not make it wrong. Remember, if you are following in someone else's footsteps, you will only get where they want to go. Be the unexpected like me. Do the unexpected for the benefit of others. Live the unexpected for your own happiness. Congratulations to the Plano Senior High School graduating class of 2018. Best wishes to you all.
Seth has nonverbal autism, and giving that speech, he was inspired by his brother, who was a brain tumor survivor, and he gives speeches to raise money for children's charities. His brother and his mother both helped Seth prepare that graduation speech, and you can see it at the Plano Senior High School's YouTube page, PISD Communications, to see the full speech there of Seth Scott. I salute you. Good on you. I hope you do great things in the future, as it is not unexpected, because you are just a great individual, Seth, and I applaud you and congratulate you on graduating this year for the year 2018. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week for episode 15 as we head into Father's Day weekend. I want to wish a happy Father's Day to my dad and to all of the dads that will be showered with better gifts than ties and shaving materials. I would assume it's better than those gifts. But anyway, treat your dad to something special this weekend. Happy Father's Day. I will see you next week here on One on One with yours truly, Wes the Sports Guy. I've been down so long that my crown and thorn is fitting. Ain't no one like me.